he tested 1 point under a perfect score. When they did the other, now with that assessment, the developmental pediatrician told me that he was reading the questions to him. He was answering it for him. He was like, my son was answering it. He had no problem. When it came down to doing another assessment with him, where he kind of has to do it himself, he scored below normal. So in my head, I said, I had an aha moment, because I know my son is smart, because I'm smart. And I'm like, we're very intelligent. We come from an intelligent family. So with that being said, I'm saying the two tests are not equaling the same answer. So there's some discrepancy in those two tests. With that being said, they recommended for him to be evaluated at the school for a child study evaluation. Now,
what was hold on.
Okay.
What was the purpose of the developmental pediatrician's assessment in the first place? What did he get assessed for? What were they looking for?
Okay, so they claim that it was ADHD. I claim it was a learning disability, because that is present in my family. Like, dyslexia is present in my family.
Okay, and your son is, you said 6?
He's 6 years old.
Why are we looking for ADHD or a learning disability at 6 years old? Why are we looking for either one? Okay,
because he's not, I feel like there's a developmental delay with him. Like, they're just pushing him along, but no one's able, but he's not retaining the information. And that's why I'm concerned, because he's being pushed along from pre-K to kindergarten, but he's not retaining the information. And I'm a working mom, a single mom, and I have no shade with that. But he's been in daycare since he was 3 months old. So he's been in school. He's been in school. He's been in daycare. He's been in school settings. I put him in the Goddard schools. I put him in Lightbridge Academy. I put him in charter schools. He has different types of levels of education in terms of quality.
So what skill area do you believe your son is delayed in?
So I believe it's like being able to articulate back what he's learning. So, for example, when I'm sitting down with him and we're going over I'm reading a book to him, or we're going over a story, he'll memorize the whole book, but he's not paying attention to what the words are actually saying.
Okay, but that's not a disability, though. That's, as I was saying to one of the parents earlier, whenever we think our child has a learning problem, we have to first assess for effort, interest, motivation, and practice.
Correct.
Your son not being able to regurgitate or comprehend effectively what he's learning, that's kind of normal for a first grader. We got to develop those skills working with him. That ain't something he should be getting tested for. That's something you have to learn how to do, and you don't master that in the first grade.
Okay, so this is another thing. When they're doing when he gets like his words and his assignments, and we're working on letters, he's reading, no matter what numbers you put or letters, he reads them opposite direction all the time.
Okay.
That's why I'm having the issue, because I'll tell him it's B and he'll tell me it's P, and I'm like, no, it's B. Or if I tell him read the numbers 13, he'll read 31. And I'm like, okay, so I put 31. He'll read 13. That's why I thought it was a form, because that's what my cousin who has dyslexia says. It's like, that shows a little bit of form. And I did a little bit of research on my own, and I know that they have mistaken ADHD and dyslexia for being ADHD, because they share common symptoms.
Nah.
But I know my son doesn't have impulsivity, which that is a strong factor in ADHD. Also, I know that ADHD is not developed. It's kind of like autism, according to his pediatrician, who is Black and is from Haiti, said that autism and ADHD actually is like something from birth or from younger. They would have noticed it from the beginning of him being in school. Not all of a sudden he has that.
Nah.
No, okay. Please, I'm here to be educated.
No,
so
I feel you. Autism is a neurological disability that you're born with. ADHD, well, first of all, I don't believe in ADHD. I think it's one of the biggest scams ever ran on our kids. It's pushed by the drug companies. They make $30 billion off these psychiatric meds. ADHD is a hustle. The diagnosis of ADHD, if you look at the criteria, it ain't nothing but a regular black boy with a lot of energy. So, ADHD is based on opinion. It's really based on opinion. There's no medical testing done when they diagnose our kids with ADHD. There's no CAT scan. There's no x-ray. There's no medical testing done when they make a diagnosis of ADHD, right? So ADHD and autism, two different things. Dyslexia and ADHD, two different things. Here, I need you to make sure you're not falling into the mindset that says labeling my child is going to help my child, because it's not.
Okay.
And because we're so close to the end of the first grade year,
correct,
I wouldn't do anything right now, because this year is just about over. And next year, he going to have a new teacher in a new grade. And we need to see how he adjusts then. Is he in danger of repeating?
Yes. To me, yes. Because this is not, this is his
to you,
going
did the
on.
school say he's in danger of repeating?
Repeating the grade?
Yes.
No, they didn't say anything.
So he's not in danger of repeating the grade?
No, they didn't say anything about that. No.
Okay, but you feel he has a learning disability?
I feel as though, yes, because it's not that he's not, his IQ let me know he's brilliant, he's intelligent. But it's something about knowing.
IQ speaks to ability, right? So you can have a very high ability. That doesn't mean your acquisition of new instructional material is going to be just as fast as your ability. One is a skill. Reading is a skill. Math is a skill. You have to be taught that skill. But ability, you're born with that. So you can have a 120 IQ and you might only have a 90 reading score. Now, your reading score is 30 points lower than your IQ. So what? Because you're still learning how to read. Like, you're fine. I don't expect a child's academic scores to be at the same level as his ability, because you have to learn your skills. You're born with your ability. Anything you got to learn is not going to be acquired as quickly as something you're born with. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're born to be a fast runner. You're just fast. But you weren't born as a fast hurdler. So you're going to have to practice hurdling, because you wasn't born with that gift. Your gift was speed. Your gift was not hurdling. So if your gift was speed and your gift was not hurdling, why would I expect you to be able to hurdle as fast as you run? You wasn't born as a gifted hurdler. You was born as a gifted runner. Your child was born with very high intelligence. That doesn't mean that he's going to learn how to read as quickly as we would expect him to, given his level of intelligence. And it shouldn't matter, as long as he's learning commensurate with what we expect. Now, if he's behind, that's different. He's
behind.
But who? Are the teachers saying he's behind, or you're just saying he's behind?
I'm saying that, academically, and to me, academically, he's behind. He's fine socially. He doesn't have any behavioral problems, none of that. It's just the academia, retaining the information is the issue. Retaining the information being taught.
That's practice, though. Retention is practice. How much practice is he getting outside of school? And are we sure he's focused and motivated and interested during instruction?
Yes, because when I even let him put, he has this thing about his hands. So I'll let him hold Play-Doh, or we'll make a clay ball, which is clay in a balloon, anything like that to kind of keep him focused.
Why not get him a tutor? Why not get him a tutor?
To be honest, Dr. Umar, I can't afford it. I'm going to be completely honest. I can't afford it.
Okay, I understand. Now, you could probably find you a free one, though, if you find you a retired teacher.
I didn't know that, but I can look into that.
Yeah, try to find you a retired teacher. Where you at again? What city?
I'm in Annandale, New Jersey.
That's right. You up in Jersey. I'm sure you could find you a retired teacher. They all know a black retired teacher only got to work with your son 2 or 3 days a week for an hour. That's it.
And that's another thing. It's probably it's probably about 1% population of black people here too.
So you might got to go to Newark then.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm trying to do, is go back there. But the thing is, how do I get him to get help while he's in school? Because he's telling me they're going too fast. And in Newark, he had 2 teachers in the classroom. Out here, they only have 1 teacher in the classroom. Their argument here is that the teachers have master's education. However, teachers in Newark got master's education and bachelor's education. I went to school in Newark. I went to Science Park High School, which is a really great school. So that's neither here nor there. Why don't you guys have more staff support in the classroom? How do I demand that without having to obtain an IEP for my son?
You don't need an IEP for that. Remember, IEP is only for a learning disability. He must be disabled in his ability to learn a particular skill, or in another area like autism or speech or something like that. Now, let me ask you this, because you talked about processing speed. You said he said they're going too fast. Is processing speed the only thing? In other words, if the instruction was slower, do you think that solves the problem?
Yes, and if he had someone there to guide him on what to actually look through. He's used to having a teacher with him, like, to guide him through all in-class assignments and, like, any activities in school.
Right.
Because that's
how
it is in Newark.
Adjust to that not being the case no more.
Right. And we have an IEP meeting on Friday of this week.
Okay, so was he tested already, or the IEP meeting is to get him tested?
That's to get him tested, to actually do a 90-day full thorough assessment to begin starting Friday, if I agree to it.
Yeah, it's not 90, it's 60 days.
Oh, okay. Well, let me let them know, because they drilling the 90.
Nah, 60. We got to do them. It's public school, right?
Public, yes,
they got
it is.
60 days. But here's my thing. He's 6 years old.
He's 6, he'll be 7 in May.
7. I don't think you should be getting your son evaluated at 7. I don't. And from what I'm understanding, the school isn't even pushing special ed. You pushing it.
But they keep pushing him for it, and he's not retaining the information.
So why not leave him back a year?
I don't mind whatever they need to do. I don't know what the best solution is.
Let me share this. If I had to choose
Yeah.
between putting my kid in special ed or then repeating 1 year, I'll let him repeat 1 year. I would rather my child repeat 1 year and be on grade level for the rest of his career until he graduates from 12 than being in special ed. If your son need an extra year because he didn't get everything he should have got at a previous level, give him an extra year. Now, if processing speed is the issue and you say if they just slow everything down, he'll be okay, does the IQ test suggest that? So if he got an IQ test, right, there's different indexes on the IQ test. There's about 5 different areas that feed into the overall IQ score. What was his processing speed score? Like, did they say how he did?
They didn't break it down to me yet. I'm still waiting on that full report.
I wish you had it, because I could look at the full report right now and say, well, you know what? His processing speed is kind of low, so that
they didn't even give me that after developmental pediatrician.
But hear what I'm
saying. It's been over a week now.
Right. Well, you got to ask them for it. They might need a little more time. But if the processing speed score is low, I would say, okay, he has limited processing speed, and therefore he needs a 504 plan, accommodation plan, so he can get extra time to take his test and extra time to finish his work. Because all if he needs is extra time, that's just a 504 accommodation. I'd rather him have a 504 plan than an IEP plan any day.
Yeah, and they also mentioned, like, we've been doing this, like, INRS meetings from last year to this year, and they're saying, like, his inability to focus, they brought that up.
Well, he's 6 years old. They ain't none of them focused at 6.
Right, exactly. They want him to crisscross applesauce, and I'm like, it's not happening. Like, get over it. Figure out something else that you can do.
This is mostly white kids or black?
Predominantly white. Yeah. He's probably in his class, he's probably the only black kid. But in the school,
we know what the problem is then. The problem is racism.
Okay.
The problem is racism. I knew something was fishy. Because 6 years old, I'm like, nah, this is a bit too much too soon. The problem is racism. The question
and they're threatening other parents in the community, because we all live in like a community, like a cul-de-sac. Section 8, people are on Section 8, whatever. We all live here. So they're threatening even other moms who have like children who have speech and everything
like that. Same grade, same school?
Same grade, same school.
How many parents would you say?
It got to be like, it's the whole neighborhood. One kid even committed suicide. He in the middle school.
A black kid committed suicide there.
He tried to commit suicide.
This is what I want you to do for me. I'm going to come up there. I want you to find a space that we can use. Talk to the black churches.
We got a center right on site, a clubhouse.
Okay, on site of what?
Of our like in our complex.
Okay, are you sure they're going to let me come there though?
I'll make it work. Trust me, I'll make it work.
Okay, so
I can make it work.
I want you to text me tomorrow, and I'm going to give you a date. I'm going to see if I can give you a date so I could come up there and do the free seminar for the parents up there, because we got to organize and we got to fight
we all
back.
need help, and it's all grades from high school, middle school, and elementary.
Yeah, as long as you got enough black parents though, because the problem is we don't stick together and we don't fight back.
It's all women. We're sticking together.
Okay, all right. Shoot me a text and we're going to work it out.
Okay, thank you so much.
No problem, Queen. Be blessed. All right.
Hello?
Good morning, Sister Brittany. How is Alexandria treating you?
It is treating me okay. It's pretty good out here.
All right. Go right ahead with your question, beautiful.
Hi. Okay, so first I just want to say thank you for all you're doing for all of our children. And
Thank you.
we appreciate you much. So my son is he's in an alternative school, and he's been going to this school since the second grade, right? So he went to the school for behavior issues. And so he was he was horrible with his behavior, but awesome awesome with his classwork. Then it switched. He was bad with the classwork, and then he turned his behavior all the way around. So he had a few hiccups.
What grade is he in now?
Now he's going to the 9th grade, and he was held back. So
okay.
he's going to the 9th grade. He should go, he's in the 8th now. So, so he's about to transition into another school now. Since he's been in this school, me and my sister have been trying to fight tooth and nail to get him into a better placement, because he needs a reading specialist, and the school never gave him a reading specialist. They tried to give him someone. They said they good with kids and they do reading groups, but we kept stating that he needs a actual reading specialist, because that's in his IEP.
So he has an IEP.
Yes.
And you said he's currently at a disciplined school?
Yes. He's at a therapeutic day school.
Okay, he's at a therapeutic day school. He has an IEP. What is his disability?
He has dyslexia, and he's autistic. And, of course, they put ADHD with it. I don't know why they put that there, because
so you must have got him tested outside of school for ADHD, because we don't diagnose ADHD in schools.
Correct. Although it was the teacher who told me I should get him evaluated back then. But I did. I really wanted to get him evaluated for other things I was viewing from him. And so my concern right now is that I've tried to get him into other schools, and that actually cover all of his disabilities and things that's going on with him.
Hold tight. Let me throw something at you. You don't have to find another school that's going to cover everything, because his IEP team's job is to do that. In other words, the IEP team got 3 responsibilities. Program, that's the IEP. What is the disabled child going to be working on when they're in the special ed environment with the special ed teacher? So that's the curriculum, because the IEP is the curriculum for the disabled child in the disabled area. So that's program. And then there's placement, where your son is going to receive his special ed. And then there's progress. The IEP team's job is to make sure your son is making progress. So we know the placement. He's in that partial day program or what have you. We have the IEP. It sounds like you have an issue with the program. It sounds like the program isn't adequate, because if you're telling me he needs a reading specialist, and for the record, rarely is that written into an IEP. Like, rarely will you see reading specialists written into the IEP. So let me ask you, are you wanting a reading specialist, or does the IEP actually say he's supposed to get serviced by a reading specialist?
The IEP actually says that he needs services for a reading specialist. And of course, I want him to have one. And I'm paying for tutors to get him to help him with reading. And my thing is, like, if it's in the IEP and they should provide that.
I agree with you. How long would you say that they have not provided the reading specialist?
Well over. He's never had one. He's never had one. They said that they
but
put
the
him
IEP
in.
gets done every year, though. So are you saying the reading specialist was put in every single IEP?
Yes, and my sister and I have been on during the IEP groups, and we bring that up every time. And then we've even had it where they laughed at us, like,
okay,
like,
so here's where we at, and this is public school, right?
Well,
the partial day is being paid for by the public school.
Correct. Yes.
And how long is he supposed to be there?
So they're transitioning him. They're talking about transition now because he's really great with his behavior, and they feel like he could be back into public school setting, or like a different type of therapeutic day school. And actually, the schools that I've brought up to them, where I thought that would be better for them, they wrote the schools and was like, yeah, we have a student, and and he's trying to transition his family, talking about transitioning, but they never brought to me what they told them, because I asked for like a receipt of what you said to the school, and they never sent me that receipt because all the schools turned them down. Now that and that was like a few years ago and last year. So now that he's about to go into high school, because they were just like lower middle school. So now he's about to go into high school. They're actually considering the same schools that I picked out. Like his therapist is the one that pointed these schools out to me. And so I brought these schools to their attention. And
it sounds like you should have requested an approved private school placement for your son instead of that partial day. And it sounds like you need to call an IEP meeting and request the appropriate placement for your son, because it sounds like you're making the argument to me that school district cannot meet your son's needs. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because if the school district cannot meet your son's needs, they have to pay for him to go to a district or a private school where he can get his needs met. It also sounds like they owe you compensatory education, because if you're telling me that the IEP says reading specialist and he hasn't had it, even if you just say for 1 year, there's 180 days in the school year. So they owe you X amount of hours of reading specialist work. And if this happened over several years, they owe you several hundred hours of reading specialist service, which you should get in the form of comp ed, which means that money goes into an account and you can build a school district to get your son the services and the help that he needs. That's what this sounds like to me. It sounds like you got a comp ed issue. It sounds like you got an approved private school issue as well. And if they don't give you the approved private school, you can take that school district to due process with the state of Virginia and force them to give your child a private school placement. I think your next step is a letter. I want you to draft a letter to the principal that you're going to carbon copy to the superintendent. But I want to read your letter, though. I want to see your complete grievance with them to make sure I'm not missing anything. But I want to see that letter, because it might need to go to the director of special ed, because your comp ed for the reading specialist, that's heavy. And the approved private school piece, that's pretty heavy, too. And there's already a precedent has already been established, because he's already at a partial day. Why did he have to go to the partial day? Did he have a crisis or something?
Yes, so he had like behavioral issues in second grade, and he's
No, no,
he's
no,
been
no, no,
going
no,
to
no.
this.
What? He's at a partial day because partial days are temporary. He had to have something that happened kind of severe within the past year. Like, what was the incident that led to the partial day? That wouldn't be from second grade. Like, what happened recently?
Yeah,
What got
it's
him
actually
there?
it's been from second grade. So he was running
But he
around in
ain't
the
been in a
school.
partial day since second grade, though. Partials don't last forever. You see what I'm saying? Like, he's not in a partial now
The
because
therapeutic day school he's in right now, he's been there since second grade. It's a lower school, and then when it gets to upper school, that's when they turn into high school.
okay. So this a district school?
It's in the county.
But is
It's,
it?
yeah.
But is it a part of the school district, or are you saying they paid for him to go to this school every single year since second grade?
They've paid for him to go to the school every single year since.
And you don't like that school because what?
No.
What is he missing from the school?
Because they're not giving him the right services and the type of
So you
setting
need to
it
switch
is.
to school. That shouldn't be an issue then. Because if they
Well, I've
already been
tried.
paying for him to go to a private school, which basically means they basically forfeit all the money they get for him, public and special. If they've been doing that, they're admitting that they're admitting they can't meet his needs in the public school. So that's a good thing. They've already admitted that. You just want to switch to school, correct?
Yes.
And did you also say that you know the school you want to switch him to, or you haven't found one yet?
Yes, I know the school I want to switch him to.
And have you brought this to their attention yet?
Yes.
And what have they said as a result of that?
They reached out to the schools and they said that they turned them down. I've spoke to the school and they asked me questions about him, and I gave them, all the answers, the information they needed, and they said, yeah, they shouldn't see any reasoning for turning down. I'm wondering what did the school that he's at now say to them, and I asked for
So
that
did they turn him
paperwork.
down to you too?
Yes.
So now he can't go to the ones you wanted him to go to.
Right, but now that he's transitioning, because they said even their upper level, so his school has a lower level and an upper level. So they said they really don't recommend him going to the upper level because, like, so many of their kids are like, it's like the teachers are being upfront. They're like, all these kids do is go to jail. Like, the school isn't really like, it's full of black boys.
Right, but stay with the schools you want him to go to.
Right.
Wow,
So
what happened with them?
So now they're trying to get them into those same schools because it's time for him to transition out of lower school.
What is the end result you want? That's where I'm confused at. What is the end result? Do you have a school you want him to go to?
Yeah, so my end result is how do I press upon the issue that to make sure that he's getting the actual service, because he still needs a reading specialist.
Right.
So
are you saying he's fine? Well, he's about to leave the school he's at, right? Because the grade, he's going into 10th?
Yes. No, he's going into 9th.
Okay, so the school he's at ends at 8th.
Yes.
Okay. What school do you want him to go to at 9th?
I
don't need the name, but the school that you want him to go to, will they take him?
We don't know yet. We just had his last IEP meeting for transition a week ago, and so they said they're going to write those schools, and I should hear something in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it's the same schools.
Okay.
That
If he don't get into the school you want him to go to, where will he go?
To their upper side, where they really don't even want him to be at.
Okay. Well, if the upper side school doesn't meet your son's needs, he can't go there anyway. We got to keep going till we find a school that he can go to. Because that's a violation of his FAPE, of his free and appropriate public education. You feel me?
Yes.
But I think also, Queen, you need to be talking to them schools and not be leaving it up to the IEP team. Because they can bias the schools against your son. Like, you need to get an assurance from them that they have a spot for them. Because they normally tell parents, we'll take your kid and we have a spot. You just got to make sure the school district pay and we do the IEP meeting and blah, blah, blah. So you shouldn't just be leaving it up to them because they don't care about your son. You have to be his advocate. So if I were you, I would be in contact with all them schools to find out exactly what's going on. And you should be driving and pushing this process, not leaving it up to his IEP team.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, you got to push that. Don't leave it up to them because they don't care. They don't care. So you have to be the one to drive that process. But if by chance he don't get into one of the schools you want him to get into, we got to keep going until we find a school that works for him, even if it means going to another school district, because they can do that too. Let's say you had a neighboring school district and you say, you know what, they got a good autistic program or whatever over there. Then your school district can contract with that school district for your son to go to school over there. So just
okay. So I have one question.
Sure.
So say if they don't want, say if these schools that we're applying him to, they can't take him. Is there any way I could ask them to put him in a private school or something that's close? Because I don't want him to have to drive like hours away to go to school every day.
Yes, they could put him in an approved private school. So what you got to do is get a list of the approved private schools for the state of New Jersey. And look, you can get that off the State Department of Education website. Get a list of the approved private schools for the state of you're Virginia, right? Virginia. I'm sorry.
Yes.
For the state of Virginia, go on their website, get a list of the approved private schools, look for the ones in your area, check them out, visit them, call them, check out the website, and then you can tell them these are the schools I'm comfortable with.
Okay.
Because they can normally only send him to the approved private schools anyway. I mean, they can send him to a school that's not approved, but it takes a little bit more legwork, and sometimes the state doesn't chip in the money that they need him to chip in. If it's approved private school, then he gets all the funding that they allow. So, it makes it easier for everybody if it is an approved private school. So get that list and start doing some investigating, because you need to be ready in case that school say they can't take them. You need to be ready with your backup plan.
Right. Yeah. You're right.
Yeah. But don't forget Comp Ed. You still got an IEP issue with the Comp Ed. Whether he gets into that school or not, they owe you back money. You don't get a check, but you get to bill them.
That's what everybody was saying. And so
they
I'm like,
owe you that. You can get on that right now if you want. Like, you don't have to wait until next year. You can, but you can get on that right now. I would write a letter and say, my son has never gotten this. This is a violation of FAPE, his free and appropriate public education. The program is not appropriate. The IEP is not appropriate because he's not receiving the speech. He hasn't received his reading specialist. And this has been written into his IEP for such and such amount of time. And my son is owed compensatory education. I would like an IEP meeting so we could discuss how to provide my son with the Comp Ed that he's due to your failure to implement the IEP, because that's what it is, the failure to implement the IEP as designed. You should get on that. And I can read the letter before you send it in, but you should get on that, and you should guesstimate how many hours they owe your son. So for example, this 180 school days, right? And then let me go to my calculator real quick. If I divide 180 school days 5 days in a week, that's wait a minute. 180 divided by 5 is 36. So, if he gets an hour of reading specialist a week, they owe him 36 hours a year, roughly. And if you say this been written into let's say 4 years, 36 hours times 4 years is 144 hours of reading specialist. That's a nice chunk, that he can benefit from. And you can find any reading specialist you want privately to work with your son, come to the home, he go to the office, and the school district has to pay for it. So I definitely think you need to look up that. I think you need to hold them to the Comp Ed, because remember, they got paid special ed money and they didn't use that money for your child in the way they were supposed to. You need to make sure you get that back. You definitely got Comp Ed issue, hands down.
Yeah, because they kept pushing on me like, well, we're doing small group and reading. Like, we have
that ain't got nothing
groups
to do with it. If the IEP says reading specialist and the person doing the small group is not a reading specialist, it don't count.
Right.
You feel me?
And I've asked, it's been the teachers. The teachers aren't even a reading specialist. It's like, it's nobody. He's had nobody.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem. Keep me posted. Shoot me some text. Let me know how everything going.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, gorgeous. Take care now. All right.
You too.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Okay. Let me see. Let's see if that's it. We coming to the end. Hit the PayPal. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. Hit the PayPal. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. Good morning, Queen. Where you calling from?
Arkansas. Good morning.
Arkansas. What city in Arkansas?
El Dorado.
Okay, I've only spoken in Little Rock, and I think I spoke in Little Rock 3 times. My last time was Philander Smith, HBCU, Philander Smith College University. I spoke there in 2017. My Arkansas Africans, y'all got to get me back there because I ain't been there in a minute. But anyhow, go right ahead with your question, Queen.
Okay, so I'm going to start from the beginning. So my daughter, she's in 2nd grade, and she's 7 years old. Now, going into 2nd grade, she wasn't able to read or anything like that. Our 1st grade teacher had brought it up at the end of the school year that she's not focusing or anything like that, so I said I was going to get her a tutor. Our tutor, she got a tutor for the summer, and she started to learn how to read and everything, but at the beginning of the 2nd grade year, her teacher was saying, well, I feel like she's behind and all this and everything or whatever. So I was explaining to her, yes, she's working with a tutor and everything. Now she's actually reading, but she's not reading at the speed that they want her to read.
What grade is she in?
She's in 2nd grade.
Okay.
She's actually reading now. I feel like her confidence level has gone down. She's saying that she can't remember what they teach her at school, but when she works with the tutor or whatever, she does fine. And she's comprehending. She said they want her to be in special ed. I don't want her to be in special ed. So we had a meeting at the school and everything or whatever, and the school they was trying to force me to do special ed, get her evaluated and everything. So we end up doing like occupational therapist. So because they saying that she has a focus issue and everything. So she does have an occupational therapist at the school now. So she has a 504 plan. But the 504 plan doesn't allow them to read to her in class, like when she's taking her test or anything like that. I just don't know what to do. I'm just so confused. I feel like they want her to read at 84 words per minute. She's reading at 36 words per minute. And I'm steady telling her, like, you're actually reading now. You're reading everything. Yeah, she has to sound out bigger words and everything or whatever, but I just feel like her confidence level is down. I don't know what else to do. And okay. I don't want to do special ed.
Okay, have you ever gotten her a tutor?
Yes, she has a tutor now.
Outside of school?
A tutor. Yes.
How often does she meet with the tutor?
She goes 3 days a week.
For how long?
An hour.
Who is the tutor? Is it a company? Is it a person?
It's a private tutor. She's a retired school teacher.
Okay. And your daughter's in second grade?
Yeah, she's the one that actually got her to start reading, like sounding out her words and everything. She feels like she doesn't need special ed. I feel like she doesn't need special ed as well.
But the school is trying to push you to put her in. Tell me about this school. She's in a public school?
Yes.
And where you at again? What city?
El Dorado.
Arkansas. Tell me about mostly white kids, black. What we dealing with?
White.
I wouldn't do it. If you don't believe she needs it, and if a retired teacher don't believe she needs it, and I never met your princess, but second grade is too early for me for her to be getting tested and put in special ed. I wouldn't do it. Plus, the school year is almost over, so you better not do it because the school year almost over. Let's get her. Let her. I think you might also need to get an additional tutor or try somebody else, maybe. Unless you think she's just really doing a good job. But I would see how she does when she come back next year. Are they trying to fail her this year, or is she in danger of repeating?
I'm not sure. They said by law, when she gets into the 3rd grade, they have a right to fail her.
Okay, but she's not in the 3rd yet.
Right.
Hopefully she don't get held back. I would see how she does next year. The school year almost over, so it doesn't make any sense for you to special educate her now because the school year almost over, and we need to see how she does next year. Right. So I would continue with the tutoring and see how she does next year. That's what I would do. Now, I do want you to consider the possibility of her. She's never been retained, right?
No.
You may have to consider the possibility of her being retained this year or next year, because I'm of the position that I would rather see a child do 1 grade twice than be in special ed for the rest of their life.
And that's what our tutor said as well.
Yeah, so think about that. Do you want her to be retained this year? Do you want her to be retained next year? But I think she's going to need another year. It sounds like she didn't get what she should have got in kindergarten and first.
And that was the whole issue. Like, I kept bringing to them, like, well, she's not reading, like, in school. She wasn't focusing in kindergarten and everything or whatever. Like, she doesn't have interest in it. And I'm trying to get her interested in reading. When I say, come on, let's read, she will not read. Like, she doesn't want to read unless I'm, like, forcing her to read.
So that means you need to have consequences and rewards at home. You got to motivate her to read, right? So the things she likes to do, she lose them if she don't read. And the things she want to do, she can gain them if she do read. You got to have consequences and rewards to provide her with the motivation to do what you needed to do.
Okay, but do you think it could be something wrong? Like what she says that, she's like, I can't remember what my teacher teaches me.
Let me ask you something. Is she focused? Because she could be internally distracted. Where's the biological father?
He's in the home.
He's in the home. Okay. Does she have a younger sibling?
Yes.
Is it possible? How old? Okay, she's 6, right? How old is she?
She's 7.
How old is the younger sibling?
5.
Is it possible that she thinks the younger sibling is getting all the attention from you and her dad, and because of that, her motivation is dropped off, and she's kind of thinking about that at school hours instead of thinking about her school work?
No, I don't think that at all.
Okay, is there any other issue that could explain? I just feel, and I don't know because I haven't met her, but I just feel like there's an internal distraction going on. I feel like she's not focused on the work. I feel like, is she spoiled where she just doesn't attend to tasks that she don't like to do?
No, I don't feel
there's something going on here.
I feel like she's getting more attention than my youngest child, because my youngest child, she'll go
and you saying she's not spoiled. Are you saying she's motivated? Is she putting forth the necessary effort?
No.
See what I'm saying? If the effort ain't there, the achievement ain't going to be there. I think I got to get a little bit more serious with the discipline. That's what I think. I think she's kind of having her cake and eating it too. She's not applying. I think she's not applying herself, and y'all letting her get away with it.
And that's what I was saying, because I was telling my husband, I don't want to be too strict with her if there's something actually going on, because she'll say, I don't remember. I don't remember what my tutor.
I ain't gonna remember either if I don't try.
And
I'm not gonna remember either if I don't try.
And then the school, they felt like they said that she's showing signs of dyslexia.
They always going to say that. She's in a predominantly white school. They always going to come. That don't mean nothing to me. You know why? Because she's in what's second grade, you say?
Second grade.
You can't prove nothing in the second grade. Anything they tell you about your child is nothing but a hypothesis. It's a working theory. You cannot prove dyslexia in the second grade. You cannot.
And do you think that, she eats a lot of sweets and stuff. Do you think that could have something to do with it as well?
Yeah, you should cut her off the sugar for sure. That ain't healthy. Okay. She shouldn't be eating no sugar at all. Natural sugar, fruit. That could have something to do with it, I don't think she applied. Do she like the school? She might.
She loves the school. She loves the school. Like her sister is doing very good at the school and everything. Like she gets awards, and she was like, well,
how old is the sister?
She's 5. And
so and you sure? I brought that up earlier. You sure that ain't got nothing to do with it? That she being outperformed by the sister? You sure there's not a motivation issue here or a low self-esteem issue?
I mean, it could be. I mean, because her sister, she loves to read. Her sister, she's reading everything. But like I keep telling her, we work with her every single day. Every weekend, I'm working with her. And I tell her, come on, let's work on this math. Let's work on this reading. And
I think it's a combination of effort. I think it's also you guys are not really, you're not really making her tend to task. There's no consequences or rewards there that are motivating her to apply herself. So she's not. She's still having fun. She's still doing what she want to do, and she's not applying herself in school. So why should she change?
She be crying when I'm on her with her reading. Like, that's how bad it is. She doesn't want to read.
I think you could try another tutor. I definitely wouldn't get her tested. Not this year. School year over. I would not do that at all. Something's missing here. I wish I could see her. You know, y'all too far from me, but something's missing. Something ain't right with this picture. Unless she genuinely has an organic learning disability, that possibility is there. But the tutor said no, and you don't feel no, and I'm saying she's too young for anybody to know. I don't know. I don't know about this one.
Should I bring it to her doctor's attention, or
he ain't gonna do that because the doctor not educated. They'll give her a label, but the label don't solve the problem. The label don't solve the problem. And I definitely won't put my kid in no special ed in no white school. Oh Lord. I don't know. It's something we not hitting on. Something you ain't giving me, but there's something missing from this equation. I don't know what it is. But I really do think it's a combination of effort. I think she might need to repeat the grade. I think she might need another tutor. I think I need to start using some consequences and rewards to motivate her. But she might just got to repeat the grade. She might just have to repeat the grade. She may have missed something and she's struggling. She might just need to do the grade twice. That's something you and your husband got to meditate on. If she need it, then we should do it. Ain't no need to keep pushing her forward if she's going to keep struggling. It may be time for her to repeat.
And I don't want to do that now because I feel like maybe we'll see a difference over the summer.
Well, then let it go until next year and then let her repeat third grade if she struggles. Because that's what I said. Let her keep getting the tutoring and let's see how she do next year because this year is almost over.
Okay.
Unless it's best for her to repeat this year. I mean, it's y'all call. But it sounds like she's going to have to repeat either this year or next year. That's what it sounded like.
Okay. All right.
Keep me posted, Mama. You got my number.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, hon. No problem. Brother Jared, where you based at?
Wilmington.
Delaware.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You said your son is in a Montessori school.
So he's going from a pre-K to into a Montessori school. So down here in Delaware, they got the first choice, that choice program.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, he choiced into a Montessori school, but I'm not really familiar with the differences. They tried to explain it to me, and I get the gist of it, but just wanted to know if you were familiar with it and what you would recommend.
I'm familiar with it. I mean, the Montessori model is kind of self-guided. It's kind of unstructured. They kind of let the children go at their own speed, at their own pace. Me personally, I'm not a fan of Montessori because black kids are going to have to be twice as good to get half as much. They can afford to be in an ungraded, unstructured environment because at some point they're going to end up in a school where they're going to be expected to pass tests and achieve at a high level. So to me, Montessori kind of sets you up for unrealistic expectations because in the real world and in every other school, you got to take tests, you got to achieve. So unless he's going to be in Montessori until 12th grade, we got to decide on the exit plan. When are we going to exit him from Montessori and put him in a regular school where we actually know what his grade levels are? Because I've evaluated kids who went to Montessori schools, and sometimes I had to recommend to their parents, it's time to put him in a regular school, unless he's going to stay in Montessori for the rest of his career. Because if he ain't going to stay in Montessori for the rest of his career, you cannot afford for him to be going at his own pace We need to make sure he's achieving grade level standards for your state, along with other kids his age. So when you stick him back in 5th grade or 7th grade or 9th grade or 3rd grade, he's where he's supposed to be. So my biggest gripe with Montessori is the unstructured and ungraded aspect of it. I don't think it serves our kids too well. Now, because he's going in there from preschool, I don't really have a problem with Montessori the first 2 years. But after that, I think it's time to go to the real world.
So a couple things. So it is a K-8 program. And, me and my wife did some, deep dive research on just, their test grades and their grade scores. So they still have to, take the Delaware standardized test and follow the curriculum and take all the same tests that the public schools and all schools are required to do. Their reading levels were really astounding. I think the kids in K-8 throughout the state were reading below their reading level. I think they had about a 32%
Okay,
kid,
so you saying they take the same assessments?
Yeah, they take the same assessments, and most public schools in Delaware, again, had 32% reading level as far as the kids reading at their grade level, whereas Montessori school was at a 65%. So I think
it sounds like they're not the traditional Montessori model then.
Okay.
And in that case, I think you can go ahead and roll with it.
Appreciate that.
It sounds like they married themselves to standards and achievement, and that's not normally what the Montessori model is. So in that case, it sounds like it's all right.
But I'm in Wilmington, man. Go ahead and get FDMG open, man.
Yeah, we working on it. It come when the Lord come. Lord comes.
I appreciate that.
No doubt. Keep me posted, though. If it get a little fishy, let me know.
Yes, sir. You already know.
Will do. All right, King. Okay, brothers and sisters, I think that might be it. So we did 3 hours today, 2.5. Black Parent Know Your School Rights Bootcamp. We're going to try to do one at least every month. Make sure you hit the PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. If you need to reach Dr. Umar, you can text message me 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. Make sure you donate to the school. PayPal.me/FDMG Academy. Check a money order. P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809. We're my Connecticut Africans. I will be in Connecticut on the last Saturday of April. Connecticut Africans, make sure you pull up in Connecticut. I will be at Shelton, Connecticut, SHELTO in Shelton, Connecticut, Saturday, April 26th. This is a Dress to Impress evening event, 6 p.m. until at the Event Center. Elevate and celebrate a night of empowerment, insight, and excellence at the Prime Lux Event Space 2 Research Drive in Shelton, Connecticut. You can go to elevateandcelebrateevents.com. elevateandcelebrateevents.com. I want to see all my Connecticut Africans, my Massachusetts Africans, my Maine, Rhode Island, Vermont, and my New York, my Jersey Africans. Come on up and party with us in Shelton, Connecticut. It's going to be off the hook, all kind of food, all kind of drinks. It's going to be a lovely evening event. Make sure you go to elevateandcelebrateevents.com. Newark, New Jersey, April 23rd, 1 to 5 at the Rutgers Black Professionals Network at the Norman Samuels Plaza, Rutgers University. New Brunswick, New Jersey, Thursday, April 17th, New Brunswick, 5 until 9. It will be a Black Parent Know Your School Rights Bootcamp in New Brunswick, New Jersey, Thursday, April the 17th. 411 Joyce Kilmer Avenue in New Brunswick. That's 411 Joyce Kilmer Avenue in New Brunswick on Thursday, April the 17th. For more information for New Brunswick, 732-527-9390. That is 732-527-9390. More information on the Newark, New Jersey Rutgers event, bpn.rutgers@gmail.com. BPN, that stands for Black Professional Network. bpn.rutgers@gmail.com. Sheldon, Connecticut, Elevate and Celebrate Events.com. Columbus, Ohio Black Expo, Sunday, May the 25th. Dr. Umar speaking at 3 o'clock. Ohio Black Expo, Sunday, May the 25th. Columbus, Ohio. King Kong at 3. My Chicago African, Chicago, Illinois. King Kong is back. June 10th, the day Marcus Garvey went to the ancestors. I'll be at the Northern Illinois University Jacob Carruthers Center for Inner City Studies. 7 o'clock. Doors at 6. That's 700 East Oakwood Boulevard. If you need the flyer, if you need the info, text your brother 215-989-9858. Peace and Pan-Africanism.